I have never felt so frustrated playing 7 Knights.
7k dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at floors 9 and 10 of the Heavenly Stairs, which are the two final floors released. So I understand that a lot of players are not really watching the top 50 videos, and I get where this is coming from because you guys may feel that you are not, at that level enough to watch the videos, but really the teams that I've put out are the recommended teams, and you should still use them so you can take reference from there very easily. We'll look at the guild buffs as usual. Same guild buffs I've not changed since the previous video for 6, 7, 8. Allies cooldown, increase lethal damage, crit rate, increase awakening gauge charge speed, and lethal rate. So before I talk about the equipment, floor 9 is extremely annoying and difficult. Challenging, I would say. So these are gonna be my Shane's equipment. Do note that I've taken out the electrify resist of her and given her lethal rate and also the increased damage down on universal heroes because there's a Jave. And Jave is probably one of the most annoying things in this floor because he will change your formation. And we'll talk about that later. So these are all my standard Shane builds. Okay, same as all the previous videos basically. I lean nothing much over here. For Ares, the thing you need to take note for this floor is that she needs to be very bulky. So I've given her additional block rate as well as evasion. The Willful Ring and evasion is going to be a very important accessory for her. And you will see that I've also given her a lot of blue jewels. Same for Aragon, very defensive. He is your second counter unit. So you can see that his counter is actually on par with Ares. So if Ares dies, Aragon will take over the countering role. Then we have Rachel, same as Eileen, just basic HP armor, and if you have Willful Ring on all the frontline heroes. Okay, so things are a little bit different for this round. I've actually started using Phoenix first. Okay, why am I using Phoenix first? Because I want Shane to have more damage output by the second turn. And basically that's the main reason. So Shane is gonna use her skill and get her awaken skill up ASAP by the second turn. Awaken Shane in the third turn, okay? And look at Sebastian hitting my Ares, proccing her Willful Ring already. That is one of the worst case scenarios. But thankfully, you saw that Sebastian actually did not crit and did not proc his lethal attack. So that was a good thing. Sometimes if he procs his crit and lethal, your Ares may just be dead in one shot. And here my formation has already changed thanks to good old Jave. Luckily, my Shane is still in the back line. So as long as your Shane is in the back line, I think you are still okay because there is still a physical attack increase. However, if your Shane is pushed to the front line, then you will get 0% physical attack increase, and that is of course not the most ideal situation. There was a try where I had whereby my Jave did not use the formation change. So it was one of my most perfect runs until my Ares died, and then everything went downhill from there. So it is also possible that Vanessa died at turn 4, mine died at turn 5, you saw earlier. So that will save you one run if your Shane is more active. And very luckily she's targeting Sebastian now. It is very important to try to bring down Sebastian as fast as possible to reduce your casualty, okay? Because he will be hitting Ares super hard, and Ares may not have the bulk to tank that. Sebastian also revives, more like heals back his complete HP once he reaches 1 HP. So that is the very problematic thing, because you will kind of need 4 hits from Shane to completely get rid of him. Who knew that Sebastian would actually be so bad in PvE? So my aim is also to get rid of Jave as soon as possible. I mean, to be honest, by now, since he has changed my formation, it doesn't really matter, but it's always good because he also has the burn. And burn is very bad for you if Shane gets hit with burn, because you need to use 2 skills to clean up the burn. Burn will not go away by itself, okay? So at this point, I would say I'm at a pretty okay position because Jave is dying. Sebastian, I'm kind of left with 1 more life of his. My Ares is very dangerous. Heavenlier is also a very hard hitter somehow in this floor, so she can bring down Ares really quickly, coupled with all the other hard hitters. Especially when there's so many heroes that are using single target attacks, you can't help but feel like your Ares is getting bullied. So Sebastian is being the targeted one now, which is good. This meteor explosion from Heavenlier causes blind, and that's a risky thing because, you know, blind can prevent counters and prevent attacks from hitting. And remember to recast your Phoenix by the time your debuff runs out, otherwise you're gonna waste time, waste a few turns if you don't realize, by doing lower damage, and you need to reapply the buff and you need to recast more Shane skills in order to bring down the enemy. So in times like this, when you don't get either the lethal proc or the crit proc, or you just get defended against, it's super frustrating because everything is set up properly and all you're subjected to is the trash RNG on the stage, and sometimes it just feels so unfair because everything was going smoothly until one specific moment that screw up your very good run. Like in this case, I mean, why can't the Heavenlier just die? If my lethal proc just now, she would have died. There's so many what ifs. I could have a far higher ranking, could have done it in 20 turns or even 19. I mean, honestly. But still, this is a top 50, turn count and timing, so I'm good. I just want to move on because I've tried for an hour for floor 9 and it was a nightmare. So for floor 10, I've given Shane back her Electrify resist, the reason being because there's a Lee on the enemy side, so Lee increases counter rate of that side of the field, so there's a chance that they may counter and land Electrify on your Shane. And then for Soy, I've put back Soy, no need for Aragon anymore due to a lack of reflect heroes. So Soy has very standard PvE equipment and death resist, because she is a crit rate provider, so she needs to survive. Same for Ares, you need the death resist trait and the willful ring with evasion. As much bulk as possible at this point, you won't go wrong with that. Eileen and Rachel are totally untouched, so it's the same. Just HP armor and try to make that as bulky as you can. So for your first skill, you can go either way. You can go with Shane, you can go with Rachel. I think Rachel is better, but I just clicked on it wrongly and I used Shane first. Totally okay. So at this point, you saw that Nox actually countered, okay? And at that point, he could have landed Electrify on Shane. And I just want to say at least 1 HP conversion skill, it does work, okay? It does work. You may not encounter it if you are lucky, but it does work. I have encountered it and my Ares died in the next step. So it was that crappy, and yes, you need to restart your run if Ares dies. I mean, there's no point going on. So after everything is set up, same thing, just spam with Shane. I don't think this floor is particularly problematic. You have to try to get rid of Nox as soon as possible, and I think if you start off with Shane hitting Nox to begin with, you should be fine because Nox will just be targeted all the way by Shane until he dies. The only other annoying hero here, I love to use the word annoying now, is Helenia, because she actually reduces the damage taken from you and she also reduces your physical attack for 4 turns. Atalanta is almost untouchable for 6 turns because of her height, but don't worry because you're definitely not gonna finish this floor in 6 turns or 7 turns, so her height is definitely gonna be irrelevant by the time you even progress in this floor. So of course after Nox is down, the next best hero to take down is Helena, otherwise she will continuously be casting buffs and debuffs on you, and that's not what you want at all.
I summon thee. Slash the wind and purify enemies.
Due to the nature of all these floors being a lot longer, you have to really take note of the Phoenix debuff casted on the enemy, because they run out pretty quickly, and you know, when you are just mindlessly waiting for Shane to cast her skill, sometimes you just lose count of the runs, the turn count. And in that case, you may end up wasting 1 or 2 turns because your Shane was doing far lower damage than her potential damage. So now that Helena is down, we are on to the other 3. The other 3 are not very big threats. Only with Lee, he can convert your Aris's or 6 HP to 1, and that's a risky thing, but I think there is still a chance element to that, so don't worry too much about it. Lee should be the next one to go because of his counter boost by 30% for his whole team, so enemies will be countering you a lot more. First negative point about that is it wastes time. Second thing is that they have enhanced increased debuff cast rate of Electrify, so if they land on any of your crucial heroes, which is Aris and Shane, then you're just gonna get delayed. In this case, he didn't convert again, but trust me, he really does convert. Or maybe that was a bug, I'm not too sure, but you know, things like that can happen. And you don't have a reliable healing method for this floor, for this stage. And here my Soy has already died. Didn't mention that. Unfortunately, so that means my crit rate has dropped by 20%. And now these 2 heroes, these 2 enemies, I have to try my best, hope that Shane, you know, does her job well and kill them both. So they are pretty tanky, especially Lee. That's why I have left the increased damage on Universal on Shane, so that, you know, when she targets Lee, more damage will be done. And if you check my Shane's HP, it is actually very low. If they continuously just spam all their AoE attacks and crit or proc lethal, I think this run will have failed. And I don't know why at this point my Shane suddenly just changed her target to Atalanta, who completely defended the attack. So I was almost panicking right here because, you know, when you have moved so far into the run and something just suddenly screws up, you know that helpless feeling that you have to do everything again. And when everything is done again, you never know what's gonna happen. That's the most sickening feeling. So I was really hoping that she was able to connect her attack, because Atalanta does have 20% chance to evade all attacks. 20% chance. Or was it 10% chance? I can't remember, but either way she does have a chance to evade attacks, and you don't want that to happen. You really don't want that to happen. Firstly, it drags on your whole run. And yeah, it really just drags on your whole run, and you don't know when Shane will connect. So thankfully, my Shane managed to land both her skills on Atalanta. I think if she didn't land that weird skill that got blocked, I think that would have been much better, and I didn't waste a turn just over that. But I think all's fine, so let me know what you think of the Heavenly Stairs overall and how far you have progressed in the Heavenly Stairs. Stay tuned for more guides. I'll be pushing out the beginner's guide, complete game guide, whatever I will call it, very soon at the end of January or early February, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and see you!